Multiple reports have emerged over the last week about Sasha Banks being released from WWE. The legit boss walked out with Naomi after dumping the women's tag team titles on John Laurinaitis' desk a couple weeks ago, and has since not been heard from or seen on programming. While there were reports of her getting suspended, the latest sources suggest that Banks' legal team has succeeded in having WWE let her go, and she is now a free agent. If that is the case, that means for the first time since 2013, all 4 Horsewomen of WWE are no longer working for the company. So, could WWE regret releasing Sasha Banks? This is Wrestling Hub, and here's what Sasha Banks leaving could mean for WWE. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. If there's a company that likes to pat themselves on the back for a job well done, it's WWE. Over the years since it started, women were never treated well by the company as main event talent. Even when there were top tier stars on the roster, WWE never booked them well, leading to issues with various stars. The Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era saw this go even further, as the women were regularly competing in demeaning bra and panty matches, as well as bikini contests. They decided to hire women more on their looks more than their wrestling abilities. Even in the middle of Trish Stratus, Lita, Victoria, and a few others created history by putting on amazing matches. However, they were never accorded that respect. In 2015, suddenly WWE was going through a change. Women were becoming the focus of the shows for one reason only. The audience had spoken out. Chanting for the women and getting hashtags like "Give Women a Chance" saw the company finally realize what era they were living in. Getting rid of the term divas and the title along with it, they introduced the Women's Revolution. While stars like Paige and AJ Lee were actually critical in this introduction, Stephanie McMahon would take most of the credit. Though later on, when women were actually given bigger chances and asked to main event shows, it was 2 women leading the fray, Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks. Charlotte and Sasha had the biggest feud of the Women's Revolution, with them having a lot of the first time ever matches. Since that time, while Charlotte went up, Sasha was not given the same importance. Despite not getting the mini title reign she deserved, Sasha was still beloved by the WWE audience and younger fans. She was one of their top merchandise sellers as well. Now, with that name gone, if she does appear for a company that's competing with them, suddenly WWE will be in trouble. A lot of the footage showcasing the early days of the Women's Revolution would be something they can't showcase, due to Sasha being a part of it. The lack of Banks on the roster will also be deeply felt, as the women's division, while talented, is not that in-depth. One of the areas where AEW has failed to impress again and again is the women's division. With the exception of Britt Baker, they have not treated any of their main event level women stars well. This has happened repeatedly, really damaging their reputation. However, if they were able to sign a top star like Sasha Banks, who has all the experience in the world and is a huge draw, this could change. In fact, according to Dave Meltzer, this was also the reason that Sasha and Naomi were not immediately released after walking out of a WWE show. If it was another time and another place, it's very possible that they would have been fired. But it's this time and this place. I remember when the Charlotte Flair thing happened with Becky Lynch, and I was talking to people there, and it was kind of like, if it was another time and another place, yeah, they would have fired Charlotte Flair for what she did on live TV, screwing up the angle on purpose. But it's like, do you want to send her to AEW? No. And essentially nothing happened, and they don't want to send either of them to AEW. Then you've got the whole Naomi married to Jimmy Uso. It's just a waiting game to see what happens next. Now, with Sasha Banks apparently forcing WWE to release her, things could well be changing in the company. This could be something that they look back on and regret immensely. Sasha could also open up about her time in WWE. Given what's going on in the company, the last thing they need is more negative press. If the past 3 years have taught fans anything, there are very few WWE stars that the company will hesitate to release. They have let others like Rusev, Bray Wyatt, and Sting go. They even let Braun Strowman go. When they are releasing stars that fans thought were a sure thing to always be a part of the company, there is less assurance about who can stay and who can go. Also, with Sasha leaving, it will show other stars that the company didn't value one of their own enough. A real-life friend like Bayley might also leave in the future. Even Charlotte, who's been treated well by WWE, is married to AEW star Andrade. This might be the start of a cascade of top stars moving to the opposing company. Sasha Banks is not just another WWE star, she's one of the top names in the wrestling industry and might soon be making her name outside as well. She is the cousin of Snoop Dogg, a relationship that WWE has used more than once to get the rapper to appear in their show. Though even more than that, she is now breaking out from WWE and wrestling to appear in top Hollywood roles. She was a part of the extremely popular Mandalorian series in 2 episodes. This is only the beginning for her outside WWE. It remains to be seen what she does next. Overall, WWE was better off having her on their roster than outside. It's a loss they will really feel. And that was what Sasha Banks leaving WWE could mean for the company. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.